Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. I am honored to have with me today Jack Hollis. Jack, how are you doing?
Jim, I'm great. Good to be with you.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening in this topsy-turvy world that we live in. And so we're just going to jump right in, pull the Band-Aid off,
Yeah.
and start on a topic that might be a little bit touchy, but we're going to go there. And I'm going to frame it in a reference for the automotive listeners that are out there. Jack, back in the day, we used to work together on this brand called Scion.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a younger brand. It was like Toyota was starting to get older. We had seen what had happened with Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
And the target, the trajectory was to connect with younger people. And so very recently, just yesterday, we had a situation happen on the Utah Valley, basically university campus, thousands of people in attendance, and Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So I wanted to get your perspective on that moment, given all that he is and where society is today, given your backdrop against that effort that you had earlier in your career to connect with younger consumers. It seems like something that he was very successful with.
Man, you've hit on so many pieces right there, Jim. And I tell you, yesterday hit me really hard. Last night sleeping was difficult. I think about a young man who's only 2 days older than my oldest daughter. And I think about what happens in that. And a guy who's just been married for 4 years and two beautiful young little lady girls that are babies that they have, and his wife Erica. And I look at this whole thing and I think about the youth, and I do tie it into some of the things I learned in business and in trying to attract youth. He was attracting youth, and what he was attracting was honest conversations about things. And people can say, oh, well, he was so conservative. He was. And there's other people who were so liberal, and they were. The issue is, how do you have conversation? And still in my world, the best way to learn and to grow is to converse with one another, to talk, to hear people's thoughts, convince other people. And so, man, I got to tell you, I can go on and on this, but Jim, it broke my heart. It breaks my heart. And what it makes me do is it drives me directly to remember, man, this world there's evil everywhere. And for those who know me, from a faith point of view, it's why we need Jesus. And
A lot of prayer.
and good's going to come of this. Good will come out of this, because the Bible promises that God will turn evil to good. He will. But I'm still telling you, there's that human emotion of just, I heartbreak for this family. I pray for this family. And it's a lot of times you just really ask yourselves, man, what are we doing? Even today, it's September 11th, and you're like,
Well,
they're both together. They're like, people, we could do better.
Well, back at 9/11, I yesterday had a very eerily similar feeling to what transpired yesterday. It took me back to 2001 in a weird way. It wasn't the same, but the implications were significant.
Yeah.
And I know back then, from an automotive perspective, the industry shut down, and then I think it was General Motors that brought out 0% APR, and
Yeah, I think so.
everything revved back up. It was like there was a couple of steps back, and then we moved forward.
Yeah.
What do you think, maybe speculatively, the steps back and the steps forward are here? Not from an automotive framework, but just from a societal one.
Well, I guess, what do I think's going to happen? What do I hope happens?
Yeah, we don't know. Nobody knows.
what I hope happens.
Yeah. How do we grow from here? I mean, that's what gets me excited, like at helping communities grow, even if you have to cut back, trim the bushes so that they, in the spring, blossom.
I think there has to be this element of listening better. And I'm hopeful that people will listen to people, not want to just be heard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
People are yelling and screaming and doing all these crazy things. They want to be heard. But we also, that's fine. I get that.
Yeah.
People need that. But we also need people to just listen. Like, what is the person saying? And don't listen for just the words they're saying, but listen for understanding. Go deeper. What are they really saying? So societally, I hope that's what happens. I think what happens is people, unfortunately, right now become more polar. It seems like everything these things happen, they become more polarized. It would be the joy, kind of like 9/11. My hope would
Yeah.
be is that people come together and not only can we do better, but there becomes a little bit more of an Americana feel, or a little bit more. How do we help all people? How do we come together and find ways of integrating, not separating? And that's got to happen.
Yeah. And I think the right place for a lot of this to occur, and a lot of the controversy right now is happening on campuses
Yeah.
at
Yes.
university level, which is feels like it's more before my time, before your time, back in the 60s. I'm reading about it, trying to know more about what happened back then and how it
Mm,
impacted where we moved to. Because
mm,
even though this seems new to everybody, and at some
mm.
level it is, it also is another verse to the ebbs and flows of what happens in society. And so if you look back, right, there's been things I don't know if this is politically motivated or not. We don't know yet, but right, the
Yeah.
60s had a couple of MLK, JFK, this is where I'm
Mm.
going,
Yeah.
right? That attempts were made, and whether or not those were successful, this one yesterday, wow. It's mind blowing that we kind of repeat these sequences over time.
This is going to sound like I'm parroting Charlie Kirk himself, and I'm not trying to.
That's
What I'm
okay.
saying is what he brought up about this. The reason he was going to campuses was because the youth and the mindset is the next generation. So how do you change? You don't change with, unfortunately for guys like yours and my age, you change with the youth. You change
Yeah.
with younger people, and that's what he was trying to do. That's item one. And item
Okay.
two, it's it's political. It can be politicized, but he would say, and he said it, and I was seeing some of these things this morning. This is about evil versus good. It's about chaos versus order, and it doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be anything else. It's really the chaos that evil brings, and that has to be eradicated. And that's what they did in the '60s. Same thing. These are all the pieces that you just mentioned. Those were pieces. They were portions of evil of trying to separate individuals, separate people, separate marriages, separate churches, separate society, separate ethnicity. We have got to be able to learn from these things and realize that. And I'm going to keep coming back as to why we need Jesus. It's about the unifying around one person.
So let's say that things are changing, even though they're the same. So I don't mean to be paradoxical. Like hopefully there's
I
some
get you.
greater good
I
that comes
get
from
you.
the idea that we're repeating certain elements, but for generationally speaking, it is different. And
Yeah.
one thing that I saw last year for the first time, more publicly than ever before, was in sports.
Yeah.
I get, obviously you can
Yeah.
see with the stuff around me.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
much into that. I know you're also sponsoring. I think your shirt today is with the Paralympics. You're on the what is it that you do there? I think you should kind of fill in the
Well,
gaps for the listeners.
I was super honored that the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, the USOPC, um, came to me and offered me a role on the as a volunteer on the organizing committee, the Olympic organizing committee for the 2034 Utah Games. And so I'm proudly representing them, especially on a day like today of Americana and really some remembrances both of Charlie and of 9/11. But I'm honored to serve this country as we get ready to put on the games in 2034 winter. That's after the going to be the great games in 2028, the summer games in LA, which I'll attend and be excited for. But I'm actually officially official capacity working on the 34 games.
That's exciting. I mean,
Yeah,
very
it's really
cool.
good because sports and the Olympics, that is an area to bring the world together, bring society together. And I'm an Olympics junkie. I'm a sports junkie like you. I
Yeah.
love seeing your TCU helmet out there. Go
Yep.
Frogs!
Go
And
Frogs.
we're in a good place. But sports brings a lot of this together.
So the thing that I saw that was different, and it is a point of change. And the image that I just showed of the Utah Valley campus, I wanted
Yeah.
to share one that came from the Ohio State campus, and it is driven by.
Recently?
Oh yeah, last week, was it
Yeah,
days
I was
ago?
going to ask you about that. Okay, go ahead.
So it wasn't about what happened this week or last week, but it was
Right.
really last year. This football team, for the first time
Yeah.
that won the national championship ultimately started talking about faith more openly. And so I'm just
Yep.
going to share with you, this is from, let's see, one day ago.
Yeah.
They hosted a night, testimony, unity, baptism. I'm not going to play, but in the other image, you saw the student body coming together to listen to somebody engage them on political topics. But here, look at this. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
this is Ohio State, and there are places and spaces where unity is being secured
Yeah.
through conversations like this.
Yes, right.
What's your
I
take on that piece of the puzzle?
on that one specifically, and I'll put us together on that one. I mean, I was moved by it to see the athletes using their platform for the good of their team, community, school, country. Ohio State. I mean, they're a home brand name when it comes to college
Oh yeah,
football, right?
yeah.
And to see those players talk about their faith openly. I don't know the exact number of people reported there, but I understand from somewhere I read it was over 10,000 people. I don't know that to be a fact, but that's what I understand. Think about that.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing that more of people wanting to be unified. And most of the time, the unify, because if you try to unify over the right or unify over the left or unify over a sports team, it's tough. But if you can unify over faith and using those pieces, you see things hold, you see things go longer, you see longer term. And I was really impressed by that. But I'm impressed by how many sports teams and athletes today are using this opportunity to really share their faith openly, comfortably, and seeing the people who rally around that.
Yeah, one of the things that I've come to understand working in automotive digital landscape for such a
Yeah.
long time is that social media in many ways, and now we're in that era where people grew up on the phone.
Yeah.
Right. You and I didn't even have the internet. So that just, not to date ourselves, but hey, here we are.
True.
And so what the social media platforms did initially was create engagement. And engagement, believe it or not, was with friction. So some of the things growing up, just to be candid, that we were taught not to talk about, right, race, religion, politics.
Right.
Now, seemingly with social media as a backdrop for that, what do we see most often that's engaging because of the polarity, race, religion, and politics?
Yeah.
So as that becomes more elevated, more visible, there has to be constructs around how we engage. And so I think, go ahead.
Well, I always will. I will always choose the more things are open, the more transparency there is, the more vulnerability there is, will end in good. And I guess what I was saying is, it is changing because of technology and digital. And listen, and Jim, congrats to you on what you've done in your career and how you have embraced the next level, the next thing, the innovation, the technology. You're great at it. I'm not so great at it. But what it is good is the more that we can use the tools we're given to be able to be more vulnerable and more transparent, ultimately that will be a good thing. It is a good thing. It will even be a better thing.
So here's a question. Are you on TikTok by chance?
What's TikTok?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I know you know.
I'm not on it. I happen to dabble when my children decide they need to send me something that I need to pay attention to.
See, TikTok is good because it has interest. Like
That's
if
right.
you and I can talk about sports probably ad infinitum, right?
Come on,
ad
baby.
nauseum. If somebody's willing to listen, we'll talk. And so there's definitely an engaging element. You and I, and what I found over time, and I learned it from TikTok, surprisingly enough, the groups of people that you engage with over longer periods of time are people that you actually share interest with.
That's right.
And so, and it doesn't mean that you have to love or hate the Cowboys. There's some polarity in that.
Yeah.
But
go Steelers.
You're a Steelers guy. Okay. Yeah. And my helmet behind me is the Miami Dolphins signed by Bob Greasy, their perfect season. Like, how did they have a perfect season? That fascinates me. But it becomes about the sport. You may have a team you root for, but I'm not going to lose sleep or be upset about whether or not the Steelers or Cowboys or TCU even wins. Love them to death.
Yeah, that's right. And I think there's an element too of it's just perspective. Yesterday he gave us perspective. Today's giving us perspective, an opportunity for this. But we should, or no, I shouldn't say should. I don't like that on that, but I enjoy the experiences of sharing a football game or a baseball game with friends and talking about it. I enjoy it. But
Well,
to then take it beyond that though, it becomes dangerous. Like, come on, people, just enjoy it for what it is, you know?
I mean, I tell people, and this is real. 2 weeks ago, I went to a football game with Michael Jordan. People are gonna be
Oh,
like, "Really? Jim went to a game?" Yeah, I went to the TCU UNC game with Bill Belichick in Chapel Hill. Now there were 50,000 other people there, and I was nowhere near the suite that Michael Jordan was in. But I can competently and confidently say that I went to a football game with Michael Jordan. Now, you, on the other hand, have a different experience and rapport with Air Jordan. You care to share, like, directionally some of the involvement you've had historically there?
well, we can call him right now if you want. I
Oh,
mean,
oh,
it's
see, now that's a flex.
if you want
That's
if you want if you want to put him on here. Actually, I got to know Michael through
Well, we'll
my
get him
time.
as a guest on this show. He doesn't talk a lot. We'll keep his pod to about 15 minutes. That
Okay,
that would be a
that would.
breakthrough. Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to get to know him because of uh, my time at Toyota, which is fantastic, and he was is the owner of the 2311 racing team, and it was a Toyota racing team, and I got to know him and be with him, and the dude's brilliant. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's a brilliant business mind. He's a brilliant athlete, obviously one of the best of all time in any sport. But his thinking, his ability to think in team. I always believe in team, anyways. And you think about this guy, and he continues to do that, wherever he goes, ownership in professional sports, racing. But it's always about team and making people better, guys. He's still not my man though, because my man's still Magic. I think I got my
Okay.
Magic Johnson ball still up on top over here. He's still my guy, but
As long
Michael's close.
as long as we don't have the LeBron conversation, like
No, I don't want to go
I
there.
don't even humor that. I just
Give
like,
me
you
give me
know,
Magic, Bird, and Jordan.
yeah, that dream team was something else back in yeah,
It's the
the Olympics
best.
'92 back then. So I'm gonna take this to a different place. Speaking of, in college, he won the championship. Do you remember
Yeah,
the play?
yeah. Sure. He had a shot from facing about left side, and he kind of had to get it off before he got blocked, and all money.
Yeah, all money, nothing but net. And so you, not unlike he, and I don't know, maybe you related to this, have won a collegiate championship. Yes, is that not?
Yeah, in fact, if I
You
give
got
you a little loving right there, I leave that on the shelf over there, right
Oh
there,
yeah.
that middle shelf right there. That's the Stanford. That's the trophy that we got for it. That's the banner. That's the rings. A picture of the rings over there. That's from a Stanford in 1988 national championship of baseball, and it was a phenomenal experience.
So I have it on good account that you were number 27 at that time. Is that
I
fair?
I was number 27 at that time.
So based on that account, I wanted to take you back a little bit to
Oh no.
1988. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know. You were there, so tell us, kind of walk
Oh,
us through
I
this.
may have to put my glasses on for this one.
Yeah, I would. I would put my
Oh
glasses
yeah.
on. This
Well,
is the moment of
so
truth.
I would have been.
A
I
junior.
may have just gotten up from being trampled on the mound. It was the last play. Ball goes up in the air. I was in the dugout actually coming out, and I come running through. I land right at the mound. Pitcher, catcher, and Doug Robbins is our catcher, and he takes his mask off. He goes to throw it, but it doesn't throw. It lands up next to the pitcher where I was fully on the bottom of the dog pile, and my face is pressed against his mask, and I got a big old slice in my face. It was one of the greatest moments right there to win something like that. To see just to see this number 33 right there. That's Mr. Ed Sprague. Played pro ball
Major
for a
leagues, yeah.
while, and number 24 on the left side is Paul Carey, who in 1987 he hit one of the most iconic home runs in the history of the game of college baseball, and there are a bunch of other players there, Mike Messina and Steve Chitrin, and a bunch of their friends, and so I was really fortunate to be a part of that team. It was God
Well,
blessed me with this an opportunity.
it's amazing that you remember it like that. I guess you would call it a flashbulb memory. Is that fair?
For
Like,
sure,
yeah.
for sure. And if you
So
see up on the top left of that picture, you'll see a guy standing on the mound, his arms kind of pushed back, his hat on the next guy
that guy,
right there. That's the coach. It's Coach Marcus, who's one of the, if not the number one coach of all time in college baseball. And
they call him number 9 out there, right?
they call him nine, just straight up
Simply
nine.
enough, yeah.
Nine was the best, and he put together quite a run of the Stanford Cardinal for a long time.
So let's play. Your ability to recall that without having seen this. I don't know if you watch it every day,
I
But
haven't seen it since
since
then.
then, all right. So I'm gonna add a little flavor to it. I don't want to trigger any copyright, but we're gonna let the volume play through on this one because Brent
All right.
Musburger back then was calling the game.
So
You might
Stanford
be the
celebrates there in the infield.
There
you
I
might
am,
be the
right in the
guy in the
middle.
center of this frame running out onto the field, and that's possibly how you ended up at the bottom of the dog pile. Just something to think about.
And take a look at that magic moment again. Here's
There it
the
is.
dugout.
That's me.
Anticipating,
And there he goes.
and it's finally there.
And you're there,
Hands
baby.
up.
And there you are on the bottom of the dog pile. Yeah,
I have
that
not seen
was the mistake you made. I'm afraid.
That was Steve Chitrin on the mound, and he threw it, and that ball went up, and everyone's screaming. And I had made this promise to my dad. We were talking about it, and we said, in that championship game, whether I was going to start or not. And but I said, well, whether I am, I'll be the loudest cheerleader on our team. And when that thing happened and ran out there, it was one of the coolest moments to be a part of a team like that. I'm really, really grateful. It was an incredible experience. Thanks
Yeah,
for
and
sharing it. Thanks for I haven't seen that at all, and like forever.
Yeah, and you've been part of some remarkable teams. You built teams not only with Scion but with Toyota. That was one of your telltale. It seems like at the corporate level, that's a easier thing to do. It's not easy, but what are you finding now that you're in the entrepreneurial space, and how is that? You've had relationships with dealers throughout time, but now you're more into the mergers and acquisition space. Is that fair? Maybe characterize what it is you're doing today and how that comes together.
No, that's totally fair, Jim. And first, let me go back. Team is what matters most to me.
Yeah.
My family's name is Team Hollis. When I married
Okay.
my wife, and almost 35 years ago now, I asked her if she would be a team that shines for God. We were a Team Hollis first. And everything I've done since then is about creating teams. And I was fortunate at Toyota and Lexus to be able to be a part of great teams. And teaming up with dealers is my favorite thing. It was my favorite thing. I think the dealer model is the exact right model. I think the better that we can assist and serve dealers, it helps communities, it helps people, it helps job creation. It's my favorite. It's why I loved being able to always say that we win, lose as a team in the industry. But it's best about if the dealers win, you win. Oh yeah. Well, so am I looking at the same screen as you are now?
Yeah. Everyone's seeing this.
And I think this is what I got to put stuff on sometimes. But yeah, I left, retired from Toyota in January, and now I get to be with a group of incredible entrepreneurs who want to do the same thing. When I was talking about exploring impactful options, when I'm with a company called Accrual Equity Partners, AEP.
Okay.
And we are a group of individuals aligning to serve this industry through everything, partnering with dealers, owning some dealerships, there's an M&A, a brokerage firm, body shops, service centers. But the whole goal here really is how do we end up making this industry better? And that's what I'm doing today. So I get to be a part of that. I'm a managing partner of AEP. And in fact, I had our board meeting yesterday, and it was phenomenal to see where we've already come from in a short period of time and where we're going. And Jim, I got to tell you, it's really fun to be with like-minded individuals who have the same heart for people, like you're talking about. I mean, just like you love people.
Yeah, you can't do
That's
this
what
long.
group is doing. That's it.
Yeah.
Let's just go help people.
I mean, as much as technology is coming into the space, and I'm really good there, this is still a people business. At the end of the day, transactional still.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because that's exactly. There's transactional and there is relational. What happens is if it's just transactional, it's short term, it's money, it's profits.
Yes.
And if that's it gets empty fast.
Yeah.
Go
The computers take
relational.
over. Yeah.
What's that?
The computers take over at the end of the day.
But if it's relational,
Yeah.
it's people utilizing transactions to do it. There's a big difference. And so our group has been created to be relational, to make the transactional better. It's just like you talk about digital and AI. Besides Chat GPT, I don't really use anything, but even it, I barely use. But our company is this. We want to be able to produce and help businesses more personally, where AI is more of a let's call it an enhancer or an advocate for what we do, but not a replacement, right? Not replacing.
No way in mergers and acquisitions. I mean, you can't. You can't do that.
You can't. And
people buy from people, even dealers. At the end of the day, even dealerships.
The cars themselves. The cars themselves. People talk about they're becoming more autonomous. Autonomous is one thing. AI is a part of it. It's still the person who you're interacting with to purchase one. And it has. Anyway, I can go on and on this because this is where I get super passionate. But AEP is created to basically take AI tools to help us be much more relational in helping those transactions.
So I'm gonna take that to say and kind of wind this all back together in terms of the interest that people share, right? If the interest in the outcome is to acquire a vehicle, that can be facilitated at least initially through technology, but then ultimately I believe through personnel and people. So I want to think about that in terms of the framework of coaching, because you've gained a positive reputation for being a great coach. But I got to ask you, are you a coach? Are you a player coach? Are you a player? I mean, are you in the game? Are you coaching the game? Which one are you, man?
All right.
Are you both? Neither?
Wow. You know what? I don't think I've ever had this question put this way, but I'm going to answer it like this. I'm the team captain.
Okay.
And I have been that. I've used that on my business cards for a long time. And here's what I mean by that. It's always about the team.
Okay.
Team has equal level. The players are, I don't like hierarchy. I don't like titles. They've never have. They gave me a great title at Toyota and Lexus. I have a great title now, right?
Yeah.
Managing partner. Okay. I don't like it. I like team captain. Here's why. Think of it as a soccer analogy. There's 11 players on the field. We all can morph into each other's position. You have to be able to know every position. You have to be ready to be in everyone. There's only one captain, and that captain sometimes has to make the decision for the squad. Otherwise, the squad's just going. But periodically, there's something the captain has to do, and sometimes make that tough call. That's how I look at myself. So I'm on the field. I'm always will be a player. I will always be a participant. But don't get me wrong. I dig coaching. I love coaching to help the other player get better. Not about me, but that player for that team to get better. So I love the coaching elements, but ultimately I love being a team captain.
You're in the game. That's what you're
Always
saying. So
I love playing.
Did you play football growing up?
Really young, but not a lot.
Okay. Sounds more like a quarterback to be.
When I played quarterback. I was point guard in basketball, which was really my passion, and happened to be the shortstop on the baseball team. And then those were the three key drivers of the things that I did, and I loved them. I love being able to help others, though, and those positions can help others. You're point guard, you can help others. You can assist. My favorite thing was an assist.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's better than scoring.
Yeah.
Help the other guy make it easy. In a quarterback, throw the ball to where the guy can catch it, doesn't get hit too hard, and he's going to be your friend for a long time, you know?
Yes. And so you're in the Dallas area. I know you said earlier you're a Steelers fan, but have you seen the most recent Netflix that came out about the Cowboys?
I have not.
Okay. So I want to show you a clip in terms of the player-coach relationship.
Okay.
And, you know, we were talking earlier about the engagement that created friction within social media and how certain aspects are developing to a new place where when you share a common interest, you create something different that sustains over time. Yeah. And I mean, if anybody listening to this show today takes that away from our conversation, that we can find some common ground on interest, we'll have done some good for our ecosystems.
Yeah, that's right.
And for society. And so I saw this, it was released a few weeks ago. I chewed through it, brought me back to the 90s when I was watching the Cowboys do their things. And as you said earlier, there were some bad things. There were some good things.
Now, real quick, before you show us, but you're a Dolphins fan, not a Cowboys fan.
I'm a football fan.
Oh, okay. All right. I just want to make sure because it's hard for me because I'm a Steelers fan, which by definition means you really can't be a Cowboys fan. But my brother-in-law, he eats, sleeps, drinks, walks, talks Cowboys. So we have an ingoing in the family. I get to know a lot about the Cowboys and get to go to quite a few games. I just want to make sure we're clear here that I'm a Steelers fan, which again is really tough to then be associated with the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, I think I was that way. And then at some point I realized I'm more interested in going to the games or watching the games and the competition of it all. In fact, for a while, I was collecting Super Bowl MVP helmets because I wanted to see how it was that somebody performed in those big games. In fact, this is my sports and your sport. Super Bowl 30, Cowboys are playing the Steelers.
Yeah.
And the MVP of the game was Larry Brown.
Yeah.
He made 2 interceptions.
Oh, I know.
But he wasn't the reason he made 2 interceptions. Emmitt Smith in this show calls him Edward Scissorhands. It's like he can't even catch. It was that I'm not even making that up.
I've never heard that.
It was that Deion Sanders was on the other half of the field.
That's right.
And the quarterback and Cowher, the coach, were like explicitly, we are not throwing to where Sanders is.
Yeah.
And so he made a couple of bad passes to a guy who made 2 interceptions that turned the game around.
It's so crazy.
Right?
Crazy.
So
yeah.
being a good teammate is also
I don't like remembering that. What teammate? What
is being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that's
doing
right.
the right things.
That's right.
And so I say that to say this: Troy and Jimmy Johnson were struggling.
Yeah.
Remember his rookie year?
Yeah.
1-15, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So here's a framework for how you, as a demanding head coach and a highly driven quarterback who have been incredibly successful in your prior experiences, can get on the same page. You ready?
Got it.
All right, here we go.
We didn't get that moment that we thought we deserved.
I had to be demanding on those players to get them to go to a place that normally they wouldn't go if I hadn't pushed them.
The next night we had our Christmas party, and the guy said they're not going. And I said, well, I've got to go. I mean, I'm the quarterback. I have to go. I showed up. There wasn't anyone there. Jimmy and I were talking, and I told him, I said, players aren't happy. And one conversation led to another. We started talking about aquariums. And I said, I always thought about getting an aquarium.
Had 3 or 4 in my home in Dallas. It's really a peaceful thing, seeing the fish and then seeing the predators too, fish eating other fish. It was an outlet for me.
And then he says, hey, what do you say we go get you an aquarium after practice? So I said, okay. So we did. And the next thing you know, he came, put it together in my house.
So it just kind of helped build a relationship talking about things other than football.
After that, he'd come over with a 6-pack of Heineken, and the aquarium was in my master bedroom. And I had a chair in there. He'd just go plop down in that chair and drink his Heinekens and watch the fish. It was the beginning of a new chapter for us.
Yeah, interesting. I've never seen that.
Yeah, and I get a lot of comments about, I do a podcast on blockchain, and I've likened it to NFL in as much as people are very passionate about their particular layer 1 blockchain. And the deal is, zoom out for a second and find that common ground.
Yeah.
Do you think the Cowboys would have been successful because there's a lot of pressure in that football for those two, and they were at the bottom. Do you see the attendance at the Christmas party?
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about taking one step back, or this idea of relationship. I have never experienced a successful team that didn't have the relationship side where people looked out for one another.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I've seen a lot of teams fail when it becomes about an individual or 2 individuals or a broken faction. It always has to be about team and finding. It's not about finding people all the time. Find the common denominator. No, it's how high can you find all of the elements of alignment. And because if you dumb it down, you can find super low levels where we have common grounds and agreement. That's not it. It's how can you reach the highest levels of alignment and getting people all running towards the same thing. And usually that comes from trust, and trust comes from relationship, of actually spending time being reliable for one another, being transparent and vulnerable with one another, but making it about the other person. That's where it comes from. And so when Jimmy Johnson right there is thinking about the other person, let me do this for you, it's creating a trust that then you can build from. And that's to me, truly, it's what we were doing yesterday at my board meeting with AEP. It's what we were doing. We were actually spending time talking about things, and then the Charlie Kirk things happens. You start talking. We stopped and we prayed right then. Those things bring you together.
Yeah.
That's where you grow teams.
Yeah. You have a shared experience that helps elevate you because and it's interesting in sports because there's winners and losers. It's interesting in the car business because there's feelings of winning and losing, you know?
Okay. This sounds like I'm going to use a different set of words.
Go.
It's winning and not winning.
Okay.
It's not winning and losing. And this is one thing I'm trying to teach, even the new team I'm with. To win doesn't mean the other person has to lose.
Okay.
If I give you, Jim, and you and I play, we'll play golf, and we both give it our best. One person is going to score better than the other. Did it mean that you
Probably
lost?
You.
Probably me. Probably me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't due to the lack that I didn't give it my best.
Right.
If I played some other guy, I would have just beat the other guy. I wouldn't have beat Jim Flint that day, but I would have beat somebody else. So what would I? I'm a winner now because I played somebody else who wasn't as. I mean, we can go on and on. It's winning and not winning, but you don't have to be losing, and that's just where people get off, and that's where the polarization happens. Does that make sense?
No, yeah. I turn the losing into learning. That's always the thing that if you can grow from the experience, and you can, oftentimes you grow more from. I'll frame it right as I grew more as an athlete when I was like, whoa.
Right. Losing.
Yeah. I can get a lot better from here.
I mean, it's like this. If you're here and let's say this is the competition and you keep beating the competition, well, how fun is that? You want to raise yourself to the point you're playing against people that you can't beat so you can get better to play at their level, and then hopefully you do win. And that's that whole idea of not winning or winning. I can go on. But I understand exactly what you're saying because you want to raise your whole game.
Yeah, and with that, you continue to grow, and that is what gets me excited still about. I've been in the auto industry for 27 years, and if I can help a person or a community, I believe the automotive ecosystem can continue to grow. It can be a better experience for all involved. There's still a lot of friction points.
It can.
And so that keeps me going and motivated. It sounds like it's doing the same for you. Before we sign off today, though, there is one last place that I want to take this. I don't know where you fall with the Washington Redskins. Again, I'm here zooming out, looking at sports and seeing how it can create common interest for people out there. And sometimes it isn't about picking your team. Sometimes it's looking at the moment. And I want you to watch this moment with me from last year. I would say it's the play of the year. Is that fair?
Which
from Washington Redskins against, and see, a Cowboys fan would not play a Washington Redskins thing on their podcast.
That's true.
But I'm a sports fan, NFL fan.
What I want to let you know is that where I'm super impressed by is you're still calling them the Redskins because, and I actually dig that because I'm a Joe Gibbs fan. Coach Gibbs and I, because Coach owns one of the
another racing team.
Racing team. Coach and I have become friends to the point where we just talked 2 days ago after they won this past weekend's race. And Coach still calls them the Redskins. So I appreciate that you do, even though they're the Commanders. But the fact is, the Washington football team, which we had for a year or two, all of those together. But you have another clip for me?
Oh yeah, two-part clip. First off, you get to watch the play, and then we're going to see the response afterward. And as you watch this and know this, we probably got canceled by the YouTube algorithm right there. Like,
no,
the episode's now only going to be seen by friends and family, so we're going to have to take that under advisement.
No, I'm sure it's good. Yeah. I remember this because he's going to go to the other side of the field. I think he's going to come back, isn't he? Yeah. And then he chucks this thing like 70 yards in the air.
Your play-by-play skills are strong. Tony Romo better watch out.
No, remember because this guy. Oh yeah. So I didn't get to see the play live during the game. I saw it on a replay. In fact, this coach right here, and I can't remember the coach's name. I was at a wedding with him this past summer, and we talked about this throw. Right, literally, we were sitting on the chairs next to a pool, getting ready before the wedding was going to start a couple hours later, and we talked about this play. And he said, all he said was, "Get into the end zone." The whole play was, "Get into the end zone."
And so,
how cool is that?
It's amazing. And then here's where it gets extra wild, because at the end of the game, right after you have that moment like you had when you ran on the field to celebrate. Yeah. So they're asking the quarterback, Jaden Daniels, who by far had one of the, was a play of the year. He was rookie of the year. He's coming off a Heisman Trophy. I want you to hear what he said. And you get to tell me if you're interested in being a fan of Jaden Daniels here.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and play this for you.
Yeah.
Can you describe that final play?
Nothing but God, man. Nothing but God. Without him, I didn't even think I'd be playing this week. But, man, all glory to God.
Can you describe that final?
Yeah. Quite honestly, I was a fan of his before he played in the NFL for the same reasons. I talked to Coach Gibbs about it. Coach is a man of God, and we talked about some of the leading players in the NFL. And it just turns out the majority of them are men who have given their life to Christ. And Jaden Daniels is one of those. And it's easy to be a fan when his first comment after this exciting moment is like, glory to God. And I will tell you, when we won the championship, there's a fleetingness, because you win and it's everything, and you worked everything, and you get to it in the championship, you're at the top and you win. And it still will never fill you like Jesus will fill you. And that, to me, has been my life story. All of the things that have happened at Toyota and Lexus and Scion, they're phenomenal. Everything that's going to happen here with AEP, they're going to be phenomenal. But in the end, I'll take Jesus every time.
Yes. And I'm looking to build like a common interest with people. And if that faith foundationally can help someone get our communities to get to a better place, because we need something more than what we've got right now. Social media and your phone is not the way home. ET phone home, but it's not the way. So
you're so right.
Jack, I appreciate you spending time with me today. I can't wait to share this episode with everyone out there. And we wish you all the best with your success, continued success. Thanks for being on the show today. Appreciate
Jim,
you.
and before you let me go, I let you go. I want to say thanks for, one, just trusting me to have you on, just to having this conversation. But two is congratulations to what you're doing, not just with this podcast, but in your whole career, how you are being an innovator and how you are being someone who's there for others. We need more people like you. And I just want to congratulate you on not just your business, but congratulate you on the strategy of your business. And I wish you nothing but the best. And if you ever need someone back on to talk a little more about anything, especially automotive, you let me know, and I'll be happy to jump back on with you anytime.
Can't wait. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Jim.